Well, here we are. It is Friday, March 21st, 2025. First full day of spring. I hope you're all well wherever you are. And this is the Friday video. We do these every week, as most of you know. For our regular viewers, we talk about the Asian art market, the Chinese market, the Japanese market. We touch on Persian rugs and Central Asian carpets and textiles from time to time. Talk a little bit about Western antiques and European art and so forth. But when it comes up, something interesting happens. But today we're going to talk about Asia Week, which is sort of getting somewhat wrapped up at this point. Sotheby's has had their sales, Christie's has had their major sales, Bonhams had their sale, and the Freeman sale is going on right now. It's finishing up in the next hour or so, I suspect. I was just watching it, and across the board, everything seems to be in pretty good shape. And we're going to get into some prices and show you some of the highlights, and then next week I think we'll probably do a deeper dive into some of the Sotheby's results and what happened at Bonhams and so forth, and talk about what's been going on. All right, but so far it looks like the Asian art market's pretty healthy. There were a few soft spots here and there, but there are always soft spots, so I'm not too concerned about that. And it may be that hard assets are looking pretty good to some people these days. There's a lot of money that's been pulled out of the various stock markets while things are sort of rebalancing, as they say, for probably the next 3 or 4 months. And I think some people bought some antiques this past week as a sort of a diversification. I don't advise it as a financial thing, but people do it nonetheless. If you want to invest, I've said it many times, put your money into the S&P 500 and the Dow markets, and let them handle your retirement money. But people do what they're going to do. All right, now let's talk about some results. We're going to take a look over here first at the Freeman sale. Last week, you may remember we talked about these Yi Xing pieces were coming up at Freeman-Hndman, and they just sold today. You can see the little signage. This lot closed 100 lots a day. This closed 100 lots ago, so the sale is still happening. I spoke to Ben Farina about these Yi Xing pieces this past week. He was very excited about them, as he should have been. And we talked about them last week, thinking they'd probably do very, very well. Well, they did. Here's an example of a speech form cup, the puzzle cup by Ming Yan. It brought 110,000 on the hammer, and with the buyer's premium, that puts it up to about $135,000, $140,000 for this. As we said, this was one of the most famous Kangxi era ceramic artists of doing Yi Xing wares that has ever lived. And Freeman's last year, you may recall, had some pieces by the same artist, did very, very well. Well, they got some more, and by the same creator. And here you go, 135, 140,000. And then that wonderful little cup that we talked about last week, beautifully done, exceptionally done, very crisp, very clean. There was a lot of interest in this apparently, and it was beautiful. It was a beautiful example. And again, Kangxi period, and ended up bringing 190,000 plus the premium. So you're up around 200 and what does that come out to? Two times 30, 60, about 250,000 for this cup. $250,000 piece of Yi Xing right there. Very good. But to be a little bit outdone in price, not necessarily the work was any better. This was Ben's favorite piece, and is an exceptional example. This is a little eggplant form brush scoop, had a beautiful, deep, rich color. That's the thing that really got Ben excited. He thought the work was great. It has a very elegant shape to it, and on a beautiful stand. The stand was exceptional on this, and inscribed, of course. And there's a whole article about it. And these pieces were originally sold by Frankel in New York, and this brought $200,000 against a $60,000 to $80,000 estimate, or around 260,000 with the buyer's premium. Very, very good result all over the place. So, in total, these three lots together, you have this one, it came in at about 260. This one came in at a 250. So you're up around 510,000, and then another 130,000 there. So $640,000 for these three lots of Yi Xing ware. So that right there makes it a very good sale for any auction house. And then you come over here to the robes. The robes all did very, very well. This one we talked about during the preview. It was estimated at 3,000 to 5,000. Ended up selling for 6,500 plus the premium, so around $8,000 for it. It was a beautiful example. The estimate on this was a little bit, it was a very conservative estimate, and we commented on that. And this is sort of a vein I think you're going to see the auction houses getting into. I noticed at Sotheby's and at Christie's and Bonhams, the estimates in general were being held back quite a bit. And I think this is partly to encourage bidders, but also to help the owners realign their mindset a little bit on expectations, because some areas have gotten a little bit soft, some areas remain remarkably strong. And I think overall estimates are fairly meaningless in many, many sales. We did that review a few months ago. You may remember we went through several Sotheby's and Christie's sales and took out what they put in for estimates, and then created a spreadsheet. What percentage of the lots go within the estimate? What percentage of the lots go over estimate? Which percentage of the lots go 2 times estimate? And which items sell below the estimate or are passed altogether? And it was pretty much only about a quarter of the lots actually sell within the estimate range. Generally, they go over. And if the auction house does their job well, they may go over by several times. So you had this one here. This went well over its estimate, up to about $8,000 with the buyer's premium. And this is a smart strategy. You had the transitional vases. I talked to Ben about these, and he knew that the estimates were very modest. It was really, a hope that would encourage participation. This particular sleeve vase, this cylinder vase, was a beautiful example. We talked about it last week. It was estimated at just 3,000 to 4,000. Ended up selling for 55,000 plus the premium, so around $70,000 for that. And then the other one, the beaker, the goo form vase, which I liked actually a little more than the cylinder vase, but it's just my personal taste. This one was estimated at 4,000 or 5,000, ended up selling for 30,000 plus premium, so up around 36 or so $1,000 for it. But it was a very, or 39,000, I guess. It was a beautiful example. Both of these were extremely nice. And again, the transitional porcelain market remained very strong. There were a number of them that sold over at Sotheby's. They all did well also, and so forth. So that market seems alive and well, and expect to see a lot more fakes turning up on the market. Just expect a lot of it, okay? Because every time they do well, you see a lot more fakes turn up. And then over here, this was something I talked about on the weekly video over on the Patreon site yesterday, because this is really sort of newsy news as far as the result goes. This was that lot of 12 pith paintings that was offered at the Stair Gallery in their Thursday sale or their Wednesday sale. It was just this past week. It was 2 days ago, Wednesday, and we talked about them last week. I thought they were very, very nice, beautifully framed, ready to go. And pith paintings, as you know, have been, sort of soft over the last few years. Well, these 12 did unbelievably well. They brought 22,000 plus the premium, so around 28 or so $1,000 for the 12 pith paintings, which is a very good result. I'm not saying they're not worth it. They absolutely are wonderful paintings. Pith paintings have been selling way below what they should be selling for some time now. And as we saw with the Mark Matt sale and other auctions, other stair sales in the past, China trade paintings seem to be picking up more and more interest as people begin to sort of diversify their collecting habits. Maybe they're Asian collectors. They collect Chinese and Japanese domestic wares. Now they're getting a little bit interested in export wares, and it seems to be happening. We'll keep watching and monitor it as we go along. But it's remember the Alastair Simpson sale a couple of months ago. They commented that most of their buyers were in Hong Kong, and that was a China trade auction primarily. So we'll see where it's all heading, and I'll just keep sort of watching it and see what if there really is a trend there. But boy, this was a heck of a result, and 22,000, 28,000 with the premium. That's a very good result. And then in the same sale was this. Now these were estimated. These were fairly simple 8 Chinese export floral paintings, very, very pretty, and they were estimated at $600 to $800, which is not an unreasonable estimate given what they've been bringing in the past. Well, these did very well. They ended up selling for around $5,200 with the buyer's premium. All right, $5,200 for 8 pith paintings, which is a big shift. Also, again, in this market over the last few years, they were nice size, 16 by 19 inches. But so we're going to follow this and see if the export market is really doing what it appears to be doing. The other thing that was in the sale that was very nice, and I like these a lot, was this was a George II mahogany rack, 2-panel rack with Chinese paintings in them. The paintings almost look like the paintings they used to come on the outsides of tea boxes. I'm not sure if they were or not, but they have that look to them. I thought they were very nice, a very attractive package with the racks and beautifully made. And these did fine. They brought about $1,400 with the buyer's premium against a $600 to $800 estimate. And these are latest 19th century paintings. These aren't very early, but very attractive, good decoration, highly decorative things seem to be getting some traction. The other thing also is getting back over a little bit to rugs and carpets, and this was at Stair as well. This very nice Qashqai rug, probably early 20th century or so, very crisp colors in good condition. And these rugs in the last few years, you could find them. They would be selling on auctions for $500, $700, $600, $800, somewhere around there. Suddenly, these are doing pretty well. This one brought 22. It was estimated, I think, reasonably at 700 to 900, given their past, more recent results. This one sold for 2,200 plus premium. So that's about $2,800 for a Qashqai carpet. It measured 7 by 10 feet. It was worth every penny. It's a beautiful carpet. I've for a long time felt that very good carpets and textiles have been woefully undervalued in the market, considering what they are, what they represent, and just the beauty of them. And some people got a little shy. We were in a period where people were decorating their houses, it seems, in grays and neutral tones, and that whole look, that subdued gray sort of austere interior to houses. I think people are getting sick of that look. And I think I'm hopeful that bringing colors back into homes is really a strong trend. That having beautiful things, beautiful carpets, beautiful paintings, elegant furniture is coming back. It gives you a better life. It's just my personal view of it. And this was a very nice carpet, and it did just fine. It brought very good money. And then there was this one, the Polonaise, the silks, the Polonaise style rug. This one ended up at about $15,000, way over its estimate. The estimate on this was just $800 to $1,200. I commented on this a number of times because I thought it was such a beautiful carpet, and I thought the estimate was so ridiculously low. But these rugs were originally made in the Middle East and then exported to Poland, and that's why they call them Polonaise carpets. In the 16th century, they were collected by the royal family. These are made of silk, beautifully done, and a lot of people liked this rug. It had 55 watchers and ended up selling for about $15,000 with the buyer's premium, a little over $15,000, measured 4 by 7 feet. But it was a beautiful carpet. But it's awfully nice to see some real appreciation coming back for carpets, beautiful carpets, and so forth. And hopefully, interior designers will learn something about antiques more than most of them do know. Interior decorators, a lot of the ones around today don't know much about antiques and art. They just know about what colors look good together. And hopefully, they'll get into antiques and art and talk to some dealers and so forth, and learn about these textiles and start using them more when they're furnishing beautiful houses. Why not live with great stuff? And then over to this. This was one of the bargains of the week. I was shocked by this. This was the Amelia Jeffers auction. I mentioned this, I think, last week. This was a lot of 4 18th century Gongxi of Chinese Amari pieces. And I'm not sure why. Maybe one of you got a condition report and you can tell me why. But they were all quote in excellent condition. And I can't see anything wrong with them. I think this was just something that went through the cracks. You have 4 beautiful pieces of you have a bowl, a cup, a wine cup, or a teacup and saucer, a beautiful teapot, a punch bowl, and a vase with a cover. And all 4 of these groups sold for $400 plus premium. That is crazy. That is a crazy bargain price. This lot should have brought $1,200 to $1,800 pretty comfortably. The teapot, you figure, is probably worth about 400 by itself. Then you have the jar with the lid, that's worth another 4 or 5 or 600. You have the bowl that's worth another 5 to 600, and then you have the cup and saucer that's worth another 200, 300. So you add it up, the whole pile went for $400 plus premium, or around 520 bucks. That was a steal. This whole lot was the bargain of the week. I do hope one of you bought it. If one of you bought this lot, leave a comment. That was a great buy. And as I've said 1,000 times, leave a bid. For heaven's sakes, just leave a bid. Leave a bid. And I know a lot of you are watching this saying, God, I would have paid that for it. Yeah, well, you have to leave a bid in order to get the stuff. And I was absolutely amazed at that price. That was a very low price. It was an outlier because the other prices for the last week everywhere have been pretty good. So that's why you always want to leave a bid with something and just see how it does. All right. Now I want to talk about a few things that are coming up. This is a sale that's coming up at Marion Antiques down in Marion, Massachusetts. They've got a sale coming up April 12th, so it's a while out. You have plenty of time to check into it. There's some very, very good China trade silver. This will all be added onto the global pages tomorrow morning. There's some very nice China trade silver in this sale. Beautiful mugs, boxes, and so forth. Do check it out. Some of the pieces have English, apocryphal. They would put English hallmarks on them. They would pseudo English hallmarks. It was something they did in the first half of the 19th century, typically. And all this material came from a very well-known dealer that was in Rhode Island for many, many years, A&A Gaines, Alan Gaines. And he had a nice shop down there. I used to, if I was in Rhode Island to go to an auction, we used to go down to Rhode Island fairly often for auctions. There were some awfully good auctions down there. And as I talked about this yesterday in the Patreon video, and I said, the Newport buyers, a lot of the Newport, not what you would think. You would think if you're going to Newport, Rhode Island, you wouldn't be able to afford to buy anything against all the rich folks down there. The truth of the matter is that most of the people in Newport, Rhode Island these days are sort of newly rich, and they don't know a lot about antiques, unfortunately. Well, fortunately for you, if you're a buyer, because you can go to auctions in Rhode Island and do very well. You could buy some great things, especially back years ago when we would go down there and they had a lot of these old houses still were fully furnished, and you could go in there and buy some amazing things for very little money. It was counterintuitive. You would think that with all the wealth in the area, you would be untouchable. It was exactly the opposite. You'd have a big audience, and nobody really knew what anything was. They were just buying things on how they looked. And you might see an upholstered sofa that anywhere else wouldn't bring more than $100, bring $1,000, and then a beautiful Chippendale chest of drawers might go out the door for $450. It was a very strange place to shop, but at any rate, they have some really nice pieces. But Alan Gaines, if he was at the auction, he bid things up. He was a good competitor, and he had a very nice shop for a long time in Newport. And as a dealer, you could buy from him. He'd work with you. Because he wanted to do business. He had a nice operation, nice people down there. And this is a lot of the stuff that came out of his personal collection and probably some old inventory. The next thing I wanted to point out is this. This is at the Marion sale. These are, they got these listed as China trade dining chairs. And if you look at these, they're going to look pretty familiar because of the mat sale that was held by Fred Gempetro at New England auctions a couple of weeks ago. You have these beautiful chairs. These are Anglo-Indian. They are not Chinese. They're Anglo-Indian chairs. And in that sale just a couple of weeks ago, these were selling for $500 to $700 a piece. All right, and this is a good lot. They look good. I noticed that some of them have been reinforced. The corner blocks underneath have been replaced with good solid ones, so you could actually sit in them, which makes sense because Mr. Gaines wouldn't want you to buy a set of chairs that you couldn't sit in. So he went out and he had his cabinet guy put new glue blocks in just to make the frames nice and sturdy and strong. These are very nice chairs. This is a set of 7 of them. Some of them are armchairs. A couple of them are open armchairs or armless chairs. Some show old repairs, which is normal because they have those cane seats on them and so forth. The estimate is nothing, $500 to $1,000 with $250 opening bid. This lot should bring $4,000 to $6,000, including the buyer's premium. So we'll see what they do. But if you missed out on the other ones that were at the Matt's collection sale, here's another shot at them. These are beautiful chairs, and you can go back to that sale and check the prices if you're really interested. But these are not Chinese; they're Anglo-Indian. They confused the script. And what happened was there's some old sticker tape labels on the bottom here, right there in Hindi. And they thought that for some reason they thought this was Chinese writing. It's not. It's Hindi, and they are Indian. But they're beautiful Anglo-Indian chairs made for the British market. All right. And then hopping along over to this is something that's coming up. I just caught my eye this morning. This is going to be at the auction show place. Is this very, very pretty, brightly colored musician platter, China trade, 18th century. If you like these sort of scenes with Europeans on them, this is a very nice example. It's got lovely color. It's not a huge one. I think it's about 10 inches wide or something. It's fairly small, 12 and a quarter inches wide, 10 inches, 12 inches, 13 inches long, and about 9 inches tall. It's not a huge platter, but it's very, very pretty. It's got a $100 opening bid with an estimate of $800 to $1,200. I would, if you're a Chinese export buyer and you like European subject matter on them, you want to check that out. Now, hopping along over to the Sotheby sale that took place, they had some pretty good results this week. They had very good results. The results everywhere, I think, were quite good. And these are some of the pieces that went through Sotheby's, and many of them we talked about last week. And I'm going to go back and take a look at a few prices to see how they did, because some of them went way over their estimates, some of them went way under their estimates, but not by a lot. But well, enough that it's a little bit odd, but at any rate, there was this. This was that very, very nice Huanhuali bed, Ming Dynasty bed, late Ming, 17th century bed. It was estimated at $400,000 to $600,000. I thought it was very nice. The only thing I noticed about it is that one leg was a different color, this leg on the end, and I don't know if that was some sort of repair or was it just in a sunny window for a long time. That was the only thing I noticed about it that was a little strange, but it ended up selling for $444,500. So in the lower estimate range, but did very well. But overall, furniture last week did really well. Christie's had some very good results on furniture, and we'll probably talk about those a little bit. And then they had some rather crazy estimates at Christie's with very low estimates, and the thing sold for way over. They seem there's a point where estimates become, did they intentionally lowball it or did they just not know? And at Christie's, it looked like maybe they didn't know on a number of lots because the estimate range was so far below what the things ended up selling for, which was a little bit odd. And we'll get into that in the next video. There was this at Sotheby's. This was that very nice Qinlong copper red vase with a marking period vase, beautiful Meiping, and it measured, what was it, 12 inches tall. A lovely, lovely vase with very nice even color. And as we've said many times, monochromes are so popular, almost it seems endlessly popular. It's like Chinese silk. People just love monochromes. This one had a very nice mark on the base. It was beautifully done and ended up doing quite well. It brought $82,550 against a $30,000 to $50,000 estimate. And that's sort of, that we see that often with estimates where they go, the high estimate is 50,000, it brings 80, or it's 60,000, it brings 85 or 90. That's not unusual, and it did encourage a lot of bidding because, as you all know, that if you could have bought this for 30,000, it would have been a great bargain. And it sold for a good price, not a crazy price, but a good price. And then there was this crackleware Gi type vase that was a Jiaqing period. It had a $10,000 to $15,000 estimate, but it was so pretty. We talked about this quite a bit last week because I just love the shape. I love the shape of this vase and love the crackle pattern. It's very pronounced, very bold, very gutsy, and then it has these ribs going down the side. Just very, very attractive all the way around. And it was decent size. It was 9 inches tall. It wasn't a little tiny 5-inch vase or something. Here's a picture of the bottom of it. There's the mark. Looked completely fine and ended up selling for $57,150. So about 4 times its high estimate, almost 4 times its high estimate. But it was a great looking thing. And again, I think it's one of those pieces. They put a very conservative estimate on it, hoping it would launch it. And it did. But these examples, these faceted bottles don't turn up very often. So it's sort of a rare bird. And then there was this. This was the lead lot in the sale. It was a very nice Yongchen period celadon. There was a fair bit of background information on it. Here's a picture of the bottom of it. All right, it looked great all over, and it was pretty good size, as I recall. Right, it was 16 inches tall, good size vase, nice color. It had been in the Newark Museum. It was as I guess they're deaccessioning things, and it was the collection of Herman and Paul. What is it? Johnny. I don't know who they were. I guess. At any rate, they had good things, and this was a beautiful, beautiful example. Very, very elongated, almost modern looking. It looks like almost like a piece of art from the 1920s or 30s. Sort of Art Deco-y, very tall, very slender, very chic. And a good size, big vase. This was estimated at $600,000 to $800,000. Ended up selling for $1,079,500. All right, so an awful good result, but it was a beautiful thing. So beautiful things do well. And then the large Blanc de Chine figure of the Kuan Yin, again a 17th century example by He Cho Song. It was estimated at 600 to 800,000, and it ended up bringing 635,000. It sold at the lower end of the estimate, sort of, but the truth of the matter is that the Chinese market, for a long time, you couldn't sell Blanc de Chine in China. The Chinese buyers, up until 10 or 15 years ago, they really weren't big buyers of Blanc de Chine. They didn't like the white color, for a little bit, maybe for superstitious reasons. And I had a number of very good Blanc de Chine pieces in the mid 2005 to 2010, and I ended up selling them to a Chinese collector. But it was a tough slog finding a buyer for it at any sort of price. And here you have it. This one bringing 635,000. That's a heck of a price for a piece of Blanc de Chine. That's a heck of a strong price. But it was by a very famous artist, and off it went. It was very big, too. This was quite large. It was 20 inches tall. It was a big pot, or a big piece of dewa, and beautifully done. The quality of the robes, the way the robes were done, modeled onto this thing, are exceptional, and had this wonderful base. And the whole thing was great. And the Kuan Yin figure had beautiful face, beautiful downward cast eyes, lovely facial expression. And then hopping along over to this was something I just mentioned as one of my favorite things in the sale. I just liked it. It was a limestone seal, Sui Dynasty, but beautiful. Had a great look to it. I loved the surface on it, and it had these little cartouches around the bottom with immortals and mythical beasts and objects in it. And I just thought this was such a great looking thing. And how big was this thing? 14 inches tall. It was pretty good size. It was estimated at 40 to 60,000. Ended up doing fine. It brought 69,850. And these prices, that when you're looking on Sotheby's site, these all include the buyer's premium. But I liked that a great deal. Really did. I thought that was a lovely thing. And then hopping along over to the Bonham sale, just a couple of lots, because they had what I haven't done a full dive yet to check yet, but I think they had the most expensive thing that sold during Asia Week. This time around, it was the Chanchu Ping. A lot of you were looking at it. I know it was a beautiful, beautiful thing. It was estimated at around about $1 million, I guess, or so, somewhere in there, 600,000 to 900,000. I forget what the estimate was. It wasn't estimated what it brought. But this is a very, very rare type. It had underglazed blue and underglazed red, and that makes it extremely rare. And it had had a beautifully done dragon on it, and the red came out very well on it. A couple of little bloom spots on it, but nothing significant that is going to destroy it, certainly. And the very good expression on the dragon's face, and then this very nice groundwork they did where they sort of splashed around the cobalt to create a nice sort of neutral background for the creature to be on. And then on the other one, there's another dragon on that side. It's just a heck of a good looking thing. And there's the other dragon. It's got several, I think it has 3 dragons on it floating on these blue backgrounds. This was a very, very rare vase. And they did a big write-up. If you go to the website, if you want to learn more about it, they did publish the catalog online. Unfortunately, they didn't put up a PDF on it, so I couldn't convert a catalog. But they have on their site the catalog, and you can go through, and they did a very, very thorough and very good extensive write-up on the background of this pattern on this vase and so forth. It ended up selling for $3,690,000. It was about 21 and 3/4 inches tall, so it was a pretty big vase, but a heck of a vase. And off you go. All right. Let's see here. What else? Chunlung 6 character mark on the bottom, mark and period, obviously. And it was sold by a company that used to be in New York called Oriental Decor Boston in 1971. They weren't around when I started in the business a few years later, but I don't remember them. But they apparently handled some awfully nice things. And then it went into the Michaud collection, and here it is, and it did awfully well, 3.6 million. And the other thing that was in the sale that was good was this. Now, I think this was a relative bargain, and I'm not sure why it sold for this price. And I'd love if any of you went to look at it or could tell me more about it. This had a very low estimate. I think it was estimated at 100 to 150,000. Ended up selling for 152,000. This is a Yuan Dynasty jar, and I don't know why it sold for so little money. I'm a bit mystified by this. This was a heck of a fine pot. And I thought the estimate was low, and I assumed they put the estimate on there because they know something about it that would held the price back. It was 14 inches tall and 150,000 for this. I think if it was in perfect condition, I don't completely mystified as to why it brought that small amount of money. I would think in perfect condition, this would be a $500,000 to $800,000 vase. So there must have been something going on with it. I don't know what. If you went into the preview and saw it and know what the issue was, let me know or put it in the comments. I'm very curious about this pot because I don't know why it was valued so lowly and why it brought I think a relatively small amount. If you look at Yuan vases of this quality and size that have sold in the last 10 or so years, you'll see what I mean. But at any rate, that was sort of it. And that sort of wraps it up for the week. There's a lot to look at. The Christie's sale, I've got to go through their stuff. I'm going to go through the other Sotheby's sales. They had a Japanese sale at Christie's that seemed to do quite well, which was very encouraging. And the Freeman auction, as we know, is finishing up. It's probably finishing right about now. We're very, very close to it. And we'll take a check back. And then we'll talk also about the Doyle sale and see how they did overall. But in general, I think the market looks awfully good. I don't see any signs of any inherent weaknesses. A lot of people are wondering about what's going to happen. And I think for now, high quality, hard assets or, things that people have a little bit of available cash, they're going to put them into great objects, as they often do. You may remember that back in the 2008, 9, and 10 period, when the stock market really did crash, Rothkos and certain types of art were doing awfully well during that time period. There was a lot of money being put into paintings and other antiques. So we'll see see where this all goes as far as a trend. But as always, you should only collect what you like. And not worry about the money too much if you can help it. All right. That's it for the week. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't so far. Leave a comment below. What was your favorite thing in Asia Week? Was there something in Asia Week in New York that you wanted me to take a look at? I'll take a look at it and put it in the video next week. And join us over on Patreon if you want to get more content each week and help us do what we do. It's all appreciated. And have a wonderful weekend. And thank you again for watching. All right. Bye-bye.